Hi, friends. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little example for you guys about when we're reading a story, we practice something that we like to call fluency. Can you say fluency? Fluency. Friends, it means how your voice sounds, right? We want to make sure our voices sound so interesting when we're reading. Because, friends, if we read like this, does it sound interesting? No way, Jose. So, friends, I was going to give you two different examples of how to read with an interesting voice and with a not interesting voice using one of our favorite books that we got to read last week, the book with no pictures. Now, you know this book really well because we read it all the time. So, you know that Miss Nielsen has to read it with a really interesting voice in order to make it interesting because we don't have any pictures to look at. And, I don't know if there's much to the story, so we got to make sure my voice is interesting. Here's what's going to happen. First, I'm going to read some of the book with a not interesting voice, okay, with a not interesting voice. Then I'm going to read the book with an interesting voice and see what you think, okay? Here we go. This is a book with no pictures. It might seem like no fun to have someone read you a book with no pictures. It probably seems boring and serious, except here is how books work. Everything the words say, the person reading the book has to say. Was that interesting? No way! You wouldn't want to read this book with me if I didn't read it with an interesting voice. I'm going to go back to the beginning and read it again and see if you can listen for the differences in my voice, okay? This is a book with no pictures. It might seem like no fun to have someone read you a book with no pictures. It probably seems boring and serious, except here is how books work. Everything the words say, the person reading the book has to say. Now, here's the deal, friends. I've been reading for a long time, so I've had a lot of practice with being able to read with a lot of fluency, right, with my voice flows. And I know that for some of you guys are still figuring out what the words say, and that's okay. So here's another thing you could do. Let's say I was having trouble with this sentence here, okay? I could read it one time to start, right? No matter what. No matter what. Friends, I can go back and reread it a second time to make it sound better. So I'm going to show you this card. Oops, here we go. Oops, almost knocked over my water. Whoopsies. I'm going to show you this card here. I reread to make it sound better and when I am confused. So friends, when I read no matter what, at first I was kind of confused about what I was reading. So I went back to reread it and I wanted to make it sound a lot better. No matter what. Do you hear how my voice changes a little bit? It makes it a lot more interesting. Okay, let's see. The other one I would like to read to you, well, let's keep reading with an interesting voice, and I want you to hear what I say, okay? That's the deal. That's the rule. So that means even if the words say blork. And friends, here's where something gets tricky. We've talked a lot about ending punctuation. You know the three types of punctuation that we use at the end of our sentences, right? There's the period, right, where we say it. There's the question mark, where we ask it. And there's the exclamation point, where we tell it, right? So those are the three different things. So friends, if I were to read, we know this part really well. If I were to read blork, and I say, wait, what? Does that make sense? Looks like what's the end there. Do you see it? Oh, there we go. It's a question mark, right? So am I going to say it, ask it, or tell it? I'm going to ask it, right? Wait, what? Right? Let's see if we can find another one. Oh, let me finish this page. We'll go to the next one. That doesn't even mean anything. Blurf. Wait a second. What? Friends, look at the end of wait a second. There's two, a question mark and an exclamation point. So that means I'm saying, what? Like just so crazy. What a question. So friends, the punctuation that's at the end of the sentence makes my voice more interesting. this isn't the kind of book I wanted to read. And I have to say every word the book says. Uh-oh. So friends, I can use punctuation to change my voice. Look at what this guy's saying. Help, 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 right? So if someone's asking for help in a story, they're most likely trying to yell it, right? So that's why there's all those exclamation points. So friends, when you're practicing reading to your stuffed animals, I first want you to practice rereading to make it sound better. And if you get confused, because that's totally fine if you do. Okay, so first practice that. Then, friends, you're going to practice using punctuation to change your voice. Okay? And like I said, friends, it's totally fine to always go back and reread and try again. You want to make it the most interesting that you can. Okay? Good luck with your reading. I hope your stuffed animals enjoy it. I'll see you later, alligators.